data on us and our friends, right down to the text messages that we're sending our friends, the telephone calls we're making, the places we visit.
Yeah, where you drive, what route
where
you take
drive,
to work.
where you eat, what you buy, what restaurants you go to, and it's not that hard to understand anymore that people can hack in and they can, in a sense, take over your life. It's pretty freaky. I mean, I thought that we'd escaped all this, and the internet had given us some sense of freedom, right?
No.
But now it's almost like it's just the opposite. I mean, for certain people that know how to manipulate it, and you know a lot more about computers than I do, they can use it against you too. And if something as simple as selling you a bicycle, which seems kind of innocuous, but the way it shows up by simply having some voice recognition software that's paying attention to what you're saying and is able to interpret it, it is pretty scary, man.
Well, you know what was really funny? Back about 4 months ago, I was in my living room watching a movie with my wife and family, right? And I'm on Facebook, right? So I'm doing like a little video on Facebook I was going to post about my show, right? There was a background of a movie, okay, this talking, right? I get this warning that I am copying a copyright of a movie. It gave the name of the movie, the year it was made, that I was in violation with federal law and all that stuff. I'm going, oh my God, how could that happen?
So something that was playing in the background happened to make it onto the
made it
onto the soundtrack where you were talking.
Yeah, and I did it unintentionally, but all of a sudden I thought, oh, gee, I'm going to be in big trouble over this.
Wow. Well, I've got a bunch of videos on YouTube. I've got about 100 videos on my YouTube site, and if people want to find me, they can just do a search on YouTube for Anthony Hamilton, The Law of Attraction, and they'll find me. And, every once in a while, I'll get a message from YouTube saying, oh, this is just to let you know that your video has been flagged because it's got some copyright material in it. And, it might be a little music clip or something that's playing in the background as you described, or maybe it's a graphic that I've picked up somewhere and I'm using in a PowerPoint presentation. And I guess, I didn't pay for it, so somebody's recognized it. I mean, with the software that's available now, with voice recognition, facial recognition, it's like whoever they are, can find us, know all about us anytime they want, And of course, if they, if all they want to do is sell us a bicycle, you could say, well, maybe that's a good thing. But if what they're doing is manipulating us so that we select a certain candidate or we elect somebody for president.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to get to.
Or we decide to remove our country from Europe, and then you think, wait a second now, who is really pulling the strings here?
Well, it makes me feel like what he said is that we're slowly being brainwashed.
Right.
It's putting thoughts in our head that we don't realize it till something happens, and then all of a sudden, all this stuff starts popping.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I guess more reason then to do like I was suggesting, and start to think about your life. Do some meditation. Do some goal setting.
Right.
Let yourself brainstorm and fantasize.
Don't let Facebook or Google or any or YouTube or any of that stuff shape you. I mean, you got a brain, and what you're talking about is what people need to do. Seriously. I mean, I blame that also again on parents too. I think parents should take their kids down. And, and just like what you're in your book, and what you're saying is teach them this, if they have a future.
Well, that's what we all try and do. We all want to do that. You have kids, I have kids, You know as well as I do that lots of times they don't listen. You try and teach them something and they're thinking, what do you know, right?
Yeah.
Which is, basically what my attitude was about my parents when I was in high school. Is like, what are you trying to tell me how to live my life? Of course, now, I think it was Mark Twain who said, when I was 15 years old, I was convinced that my father was the stupidest man on earth. By the time I got to be 35, I was amazed how smart he had become. Well, same thing with me. When I grew up and got into my 40s and had children and family of my own, I started to realize how wise my parents really were. But when I was in my teens and 20s, I didn't think that.
No.
I was rebelling against them,
Yeah, unfortunately, that's pretty much normal. I guess that's called maturity. You have to learn. Unfortunately, sometimes they learn the hard way where, they end up in prison or they end up losing anything or everything they have or just go into a bad marriage or just don't even hold a job down that they're capable of.
Yeah, I guess from the standpoint of society as a whole, it's a never-ending challenge, right? I mean, there seems to be inevitably going to be a certain proportion of the population that either ends up in prison or addicted to some kind of substance that they can't control. And I mean, in some ways, we're all on this knife edge, and we could end up there if we're not careful. So we have to learn to, control our thoughts, control our attitudes, beliefs, choose what we want our life to be about, choose the kind of feelings and emotions that we want to feel, and then practice feeling them. Practice feeling love, practice feeling forgiveness, practice feeling happiness and feeling successful, And what I've found is that your feelings and emotions are really a kind of a lens that when one of the basic exercises that I teach everybody to do, and I'll mention it right now for some of your listeners, just take a sheet of paper and write down a list of 5 or 10 or 15 what I call past successes. These are things that you've done in the past that when you think about them, you feel successful, finishing high school, getting a degree, learning how to drive a car, learning how to speak a foreign language, getting a job, Anything that you think about that to you qualifies as a success, just make a note of it and then think about it, meditate on it. Play some soft music that you like and just relax and let your mind go back into those successes, relive them again, feel that feeling of happiness and success and accomplishment in your body, and by doing that, I believe it changes the chemicals in your body, changes the structure of your brain over time, and as it becomes more habitual and you feel happier and more successful on a day-to-day basis, then you will become aware of how many places in your life you actually were successful and how many reasons there are every day to be happy and to be grateful. And a simple practice like that, feeling happy, feeling grateful, practicing generosity, practicing mindfulness, it can have a huge impact on your life and in the lives of those around you.
Oh, so well put. Now, Anthony, it's getting down here to the last few minutes. How many books have you written, and what books are still out there available?
Well, I have a couple, but the main one that I'm most proud of, the one that I'm talking mostly about tonight, it contains this theory of consciousness, is called Mind, Time, and Power. So that's all one word, mindtimeandpower.com. And people can go to my website. They can order the paperback book through the website. They can order the Kindle edition, and they can download it. I have MP3 recordings of workshops and things that I've done. I've got, as I mentioned, about 100 videos on YouTube, all of which are based on my book, and they explain various aspects of goal setting, visualizing, law of attraction, mindfulness, meditation. And I have a few programs. And also on that website, mindtimeandpower.com, people can go there and there's a link they can click on, and it'll give them a free 30-day Mind Power course, which gives them a series of worksheets. I think there's 10 lessons. So they get 10 worksheets and 10 videos, and they can watch and they can learn about the power of thought, the power of the mind, and they can start to feel a little more powerful. They can develop some sense of their own ability to set goals and achieve their goals, and they can start to cultivate the kinds of feelings and emotions that they want to feel on a regular day-to-day basis. So they can just simply go to mindtimeandpower.com, and all of that information is available.
Oh, wow. Boy, it's free. So
yeah, it's free.
Yeah.
All the YouTube videos are free, of course. The 30-day Mind Power course is free. And of course, the book, there's a charge for the book. It's sold through Amazon. They can buy it worldwide through Amazon. And I also have, there's links on there to online courses which they can sign up for that are a little more intense. And I have a fee for those. They can buy those online. And they can communicate with me. I get emails and things virtually every day from people that either want some coaching from me or they want to talk to me. They hear me on a show like yours and they say, hey, I'd like to see this guy's, I'd like to read his book, So I'm having an impact. It's growing.
Oh, yeah.
And as I say, now I've got this new project, this one-man play.
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
Confessions of a Time Traveler. Yeah, so I'm going to convince everybody, hopefully, that we're all closet time travelers. We just aren't aware of it.
Oh, yeah. Till they come out of the closet. I'm sorry. But
I just want to change the world, that's all.
Well, hey, that's what you're doing is, we need it.
Absolutely, yeah. And I need it too. It's for my benefit as well as other people's benefits. But,
well, I think it keeps you young too.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's I find it refreshing. I'm only 66. You're what, 70 now? But
I'm 70. I'll be 71 in a few weeks.
Yeah, I had a guest on here a couple weeks ago. It was in his 80s, and I was talking to him, and he was like, his brain was like bang, sharper than probably virtually anybody I ever talked to, and it just shocked me. But I think
you're pretty sharp. I mean, you sound pretty sharp yourself. You hit upon it a few minutes ago when you said that, when you were sick there and you were, in bed thinking about fantasizing about your life, you decided to do what you love to do. Yeah. Well, follow your bliss is an expression you've probably heard before. And of course, each of us can do that either in a small way or a big way. Do the thing that makes you feel good.
Yeah. I even think what I do here even helps people. I mean, I've had so many emails. I get hundreds of emails a day from people, saying that they enjoy the show. They learn a lot. I learned a couple things. I don't like a lot of the podcast or the internet paranormal shows because honestly, I'm going to get people mad at me. I think they're trash. I don't like using the F word every 2 seconds. And I do screen the people. I screened you before I, asked you to be on.
You're the one.
Yeah, I screen everybody. Then I hand it over to my producer, and then I hand it over to another person and say, hey, I want this person on. But, I want entertainment, I want enlightenment, and I want education.
Well, you're doing some good work, and I really appreciate the time you spent to get to know me and to invite me onto your show. I'm looking forward to telling my friends about it. If they haven't, if they aren't listening already, that I'll be able to give them a link to this show later on, and they'll be able to listen to it. So I really appreciate you doing the work that you're doing, Gary. You're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. And tomorrow it'll be put up as a podcast, so you'll find our conversation up on iTunes. Tune in tomorrow iHeart, all the major apps is up. We're live right now on TuneIn and Spreaker, but tomorrow we'll be up on virtually every major app. So, I mean, this conversation will be up for at least 60 days, and you'll have people listening, every day. Believe it or not, the biggest audience I have on this show, which is a big shock,